Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Secretary of Shade. I am your host, DDM. And baby, baby, I am gagged. I'm gagged and I'm gooped and I'm gooped and I'm gagged. First of all, if this is your first time tuning in, make sure you follow Secretary of Shade on YouTube, youtube.com/Secretary of Shade. Also, too, you can follow me on social media at Dapper Dan Midas. You can also donate to the channel via Super Chat if you're on YouTube or Venmo Cash App Dapper Dan Midas. Now, we have Mother Calm, okay? Joe Biden has dropped out of the race. We learned that yesterday. So, first off, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on Joe Biden. Thank you for your service, sir. We appreciate you. As I've always stated on this channel, you were very much a stop the bleeding president, and we value you for that. Thank you for your contribution. Okay? But you gagged us a little bit because you dropped this news on a Sunday. Now, on Sunday is where I take my day of rest, bitch. This is where I iron my clothes for the week or the next day. I cook Sunday dinner. I lay around. I watch my shows. I went to DC to hang out with a friend. And you just drop a bomb on a Sunday afternoon. I just got out of church. I didn't even get finished praising the Lord long enough for you to drop this bomb. Now, at first, I was a little pissed. I was like, now, why the hell? This is not no Sunday shit. This is some Monday morning type shit. You don't do this on a Sunday, okay? But then I thought about it. I said, now, wait a minute, bitch. You gagged us on a Sunday. But now on Monday, we get to move forward. So we get a full week of what's next, okay? And what's next is Kamala Harris. Not Kamala. Kamala Harris for president. Now, here's the thing. This should have happened a couple months back, but we here now. It's nothing we can do. It's nothing we can say with the timing. And when this news first broke of Biden dropping out, my immediate response, because when you cover politics so much, when you have been dealing with such toxic behavior and such a toxic environment in the landscape of American politics and even global politics to a certain degree, you get a little jaded. And I was one of those people. I was like, hey, we're royally fucked. That was my first thought. But then I said, you have to speak life. You have to speak things into existence. You have to speak power. And also, too, on this show, and sometimes I don't realize it because this is just something that I do. It's not, I'm not on no major network or anything like that. Look out for that. But I said I have a responsibility to enrich the minds, engage the minds, and uplift people on this platform. So at first, I was going to be like, bitch, the Democratic Party, like this is, like it all fell down. And we're not going to sit here and act like shit is not crazy right now with the Democratic Party. But rather than spend the next 30, 40 minutes talking about what went wrong and why Democrats are not going to win or why Joe Biden poll numbers slipped, we're going to talk about the fucking positives, okay? This is going to be a positive fucking episode, okay? God damn it, we're going to talk about the good shit. Now, the good shit is we got a candidate in office that can put two sentences together without having to look at a teleprompter. First win. Second, we got a candidate that know her shit when it comes to law. Second win. Next up, we got a candidate who at least got to work in an administration that had some sense. Third win. And the elephant in the room, we have a woman who may sit in the top chair in our government for the first time in history. Another win. Okay. Now, this woman is our vice president, Kamala Harris, who we all know, Howard University alumni, aka member. She's running for president. Now, here's the thing. It's not a guaranteed she gonna get the Democratic nomination, niece. And that's why she's been saying in her campaign already, because she just launched today. By the way, shout out to the Kamala Harris campaign for raising $81 million within 24 hours. That should tell you that people are excited, if you didn't know. And those are $24 million in the first, 5 hours were small dollar donations. So these are donations from everyday people. This is not from a big government entity. Those first donations were from the people. Okay? But she doesn't have the nomination locked up. Now, technically she doesn't. But if the Democrats know what's good for them, she does. Okay? One thing that the Democratic Party must do is it must show unity at the DNC. There will be no room for a real fight on the Congress on the convention floor about who's going to get the nomination. Because at this point, you can be vice. I mean, you can be that girl. You can be Mother Vice. But for the sake of the people ain't got time to be meeting a new motherfucker at this point. They just don't. Okay? They just don't. They don't got time to be nobody wants to meet the new girl right now. Okay? We don't have time to get to know you, take you out on a date, walk you to your front porch. Like, we don't have time for all that. The new girl, you can be the vice. You giving very much sidekick, feature artist. We ain't got time. Okay? Another thing. Democrats, please don't eat yourselves. Don't overanalyze and overthink yourself out of a viable option. And I'm saying this because what I notice about the Democratic Party is they have a tendency to eat each other, both in government and the general public in these comments. Y'all, on these social of medias, like, let people live. Let them breathe. If they're saying a positive about this lady, so what? It may not be the most politically correct statement. They supporting her. That's getting the word out. Like, the time for over-intellectualizing your options is over. You need all the help you can get, bitch. And that's on Mary Had a Little Lamb. Rent a 1010. You ain't got no time to do this shit again. Okay? Like, please do not over-intellectualize this. Okay? And one thing I want to shout out. A good friend of mine. I'm not going to say her name on here because I had to opt because, just in case shit goes south, I don't want her implicated in whatever happens to me. Knock on wood. A friend of mine and her, I was on the phone with a dear friend of mine, my best friend, and she was talking to her son. And her son said, "Ma, you can give me 10 reasons off the top of your head why I shouldn't vote for Donald Trump. But when I ask you Why should I vote for Kamala Harris? You had to think about it. And I said, bitch. I gagged a little bit because he ate her the fuck up. He ate her up. Like, how you 19 years old eating up your 40-something-year-old mother, but he ate her up. But he's 19, black male. He poses a very good question. And it's something that you can't ignore because these are our youth asking this question. So this episode, this meeting, we're going to dedicate to Kamala Harris. Who the running mate options are, why you should vote for her, okay? And what is her political record and background? What does her proof of work say about her? Let's talk about that. So, first of all, we know Kamala raised $81 million first 24 hours. Kudos to you. She's gotten a lot of endorsements. Nancy Pelosi, Wes Moore, my governor here in Maryland. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's a rogues gallery of Democratic endorsements. Okay? Now, Kamala Harris, let's look at the woman. Let's look at who she is. We should already know this, but I feel like I need to do this for the people who's sitting on the fence, like they not going to be in a post-apocalyptic disaster film if shit goes south. Okay? So, and this is coming from Bloomberg, bitch. Harris has been a first in nearly every office she's ever held. In 2003, she was elected San Francisco's district attorney, becoming the first black woman to be named to the post. After that, she was elected as the first African American and first woman to serve as California's Attorney General. Okay? She is also the first South Asian senator. Okay? In history. She is also labeling herself as a progressive prosecutor. So this is a woman of first, which, if you're thinking about history, that's a good set of omens. She's been the first in a lot of things. Add to that list the first woman vice president and the first black or South Asian, however you want to spin it, I'm not picky, okay, woman to sit in that chair as well. All right? So let's think about that. But then let's look at Kamala's career as far as her on crime. Now, Kamala, during her initial campaign as president, before she got on the ticket with Joe to run as vice, the downfall to Kamala Harris was, she sent so many black men to jail. She is a traitor. She don't like, that was the story, right? And some of her policies and record do say, hey, sis, you was kind of tough on that, bitch. But then I started digging. Because a lot of times, when we do candidate backgrounds on this show, I don't look at national news on that candidate. I look at local news. I look at state news on that candidate. Because, see, what I've learned, because when you do this after a while, you learn that when you look into local news, that's when you really find out who these people are. So, this is coming from the Sacramento Bee. I'm going to read a passage from that. Throughout her career, Harris promoted herself as a tough-on-crime attorney. At the 2006 Democratic Convention, she told a New York delegation she was California's top cop, a moniker that many in the state's communities of color criticized. When she became a U.S. Senator in 2017, Harris became a leading voice in a bid to reform the nation's criminal justice system, notably after George Floyd was killed by a police officer in Minneapolis in 2020. The White House told the Bee this month that Harris spent her career trying to reduce recidivism, help build people rebuild after prison, and improve children's civil rights in the juvenile justice system. Harris's 2019 presidential campaign platform included seeking a federal moratorium on the death penalty, which she has long opposed. She was embroiled in controversy as a San Francisco prosecutor when she would not seek the death penalty against a suspect accused of killing a police officer. When she ran for attorney general in 2010, many in the law enforcement area opposed her. 4 years later, after a federal judge ruled California's death penalty unconstitutional, Harris appealed the decision. It is not supported by the law and it undermines important protections that our court provides to defendants, she said at the time. So let's unpack this. Because the story a lot, and I understand that this isn't the in-depth, we read in every case type shit, okay? You can do that. As a United States citizen, you should be doing that. But let's think about this. The story about Kamala was always that she was just so, ugh. When actually, she got some heat from not wanting to prosecute a person for killing a cop. Okay? For opposing the death penalty. Now, that's not to say that sis ain't send a couple of black and brown boys to jail, or several, however many. I don't want to undermine the number. But also, too, sometimes people do shit that they need to go to jail for. I mean, everybody is not innocent, bitch. And also, too, being in that seat, let's think about it. As a woman of color, that's a line she got to toe. She's the first black woman to sit in that seat. First one, attorney general. Like, she can't just let good shit go south. And not for nothing, look at where California is now. Look at what's happening in San Francisco. Look at what's happening in these different places. And the story was she was so tough on crime. Well, when she left, bitch, look at what's happened to California. So, and I say that to say this. For our dear friends in the MAGA wing who's like, the liberals are letting cities go to shit. They don't, they don't want to prosecute. They don't want to do that. You have some people that are very not heavy-handed or a little lightweight on prosecution. But she definitely wasn't one of them. Reading this and then looking at past history, because we talked about Kamala in these meetings before, it sounds like sis kind of had an even balance. Based on what I've researched previously, what I'm reading now, and getting to know the woman in office. Okay? So, I mean, at some point, you do have to do your job. And that speaks to America at large. There are a lot of people complaining about crime. There are a lot of people complaining about jobs. There are a lot of people complaining about safety. There are a lot of people complaining about infrastructure. In order to have those things, people have to do their job. Sometimes that job involves you doing shit that maybe other people don't like. But that is the job that you've been tasked with. Because the story was, it's too tough on crime. Now the story is, I don't feel safe going outside my house. Now, me personally, I feel like it's not too much to ask for our governments to be able to hold corrupt police accountable and arrest violent offenders. I mean, it's almost like I'm asking the government to govern. Right? So let's think about that. And the reason why I'm saying these things is because I'm not speaking to the people right now who are going to vote for Kamala Harris regardless. I'm not speaking to the people who are going to vote for Donald Trump regardless. This meeting isn't for you. I'm speaking to that 19-year-old that I heard on the phone today. That's who I'm speaking to. So if you've chosen your side already, great. More power to you. As an American citizen, you have the right to do that. But this meeting isn't about you. This meeting isn't a football game. This meeting is to reach voters who are sitting idle, or to reach voters who have checked out, to reach young voters who will be voting for their future for the first time in their lives, so that they can understand why the Supreme Court needs to be even. That's what this meeting is about. Okay? That's what this meeting is about. Now, let's look at Kamala Harris. She spoke today, not too long ago, about an hour before we started taping here. And she, first of all, sounded safe. And when I say safe, meaning that I felt like this is a woman who could deal with foreign entities, also speak to her nation, and also have common sense. It didn't feel extreme one way or another. Now, granted, I'm more liberal leaning. So I have my thumb on the scale a little bit with that. But as a person with common sense, I can rock with this lady. And that's who I want. I want somebody who is not erratic. I want also somebody who is not going to be completely controlled by more insidious or unsavory figures in their ear and in their administration. Because to me, when we think Donald Trump, I don't think Donald Trump himself is that dangerous. I think the people who have attached themselves to him and who he deferred to are the ones who I'm really concerned about. But with Kamala, I feel like we have a nice even playing field here. Okay? And the reality is, folks, you got two choices, it's looking like. You got two. And two, I'm speaking specifically to black men right now in this particular segment. Sometimes I feel like, and I'm getting ready to hurt some feelings right now. Sometimes I feel like with some black men, I don't think they really are that angry about patriarchy or white supremacy. I think some of our black men are more angry that they can't benefit off of it and they didn't think of it first. And I say that because some of the comments that I'm seeing against this woman, some of the comments that I'm seeing while you're voting for, because the thing is, you can vote for whoever you want. But I would like to get an idea of why you're voting for the person that you're voting for if you're going to make that public. Because you don't have to. But my question is, you look at a woman who had a job to do to prosecute, but then you look at a person, let's look at this other person here, who was not in any type of public office, political seat, or law enforcement, who took out a whole ad calling for the conviction and in some ways murder of 5 young black men who look like you right now for a crime that we come to find out they didn't even commit. You want to have a seat. You're jockeying for a seat at a table that they will allow you to help build, but you will not be able to break bread at. Now, where that makes sense? How that makes sense? You got your hammer out, you got your nails, you banging, banging, banging. You pulling out the sander, you got the gloss, you about to make the most pretty, beautiful wooden table ever. And after you get finished building this bitch, you gonna get told, thank you for your service. Have a nice day. And you're doing this because you got $1,200 3 years ago. 2-3 years ago, whatever it was. Did that make sense? Ask yourself that. Does that really make sense? Like, think about it, right? Does that really make sense? Gas. Oh, gas is high. Food is high. Yeah, the shit is high. It's high. But the farmers also told you that when the pandemic first hit. Also, too, if you were paying attention, you would know that severe droughts, the fires that are affecting the West Coast on a regular basis, are killing our crop production. The farmers told you that. That's why they were begging for money during the pandemic, because they couldn't keep afloat. Hell, even if you watch TV, bitch, Yellowstone, even in Yellowstone, which is by, from what I gather and I hear, a conservative creator, he's even saying it in the goddamn show. But you're so nearsighted in your approach. And you say to yourself, well, what has the Democratic Party done for me? And they do got some shit to answer for. They do got some shit to answer for. That part, I'm not going to lie to you. That's one thing I don't do. But also, you got to ask yourself, when's the last time you talked to your local representative? When's the last time you voted in a local election? Do you even know who your city councilman is in your district? You gotta ask yourself, and I'm talking to black men on the fence right now. Like, I'm having a real conversation. And you can call me whatever name you want. You say whatever you feel about me. You can say I'm whatever. But you can't lie to yourself. Okay? You can't lie to yourself. Even think about, okay, you don't want to hear none of that. Think about the candidates, the black male candidates who were featured in the Republican Party, who they propped up. Herschel Walker, Tim Scott. Did Donald Trump pick Tim Scott as his VP? No, he didn't. He picked a first-time senator who wrote a book, who's a venture capitalist and has no experience in foreign policy, governing, outside of the year and a half that he served in the Senate. He overlooked Tim Scott. He overlooked Marco Rubio. He overlooked Nikki Haley. Ask yourself that. Actually, take a look at that. Really think about it. You guys have daughters. You love to say on Facebook and social media and Twitter and TikTok, oh yeah, I'm a girl dad. Okay, girl dad. What you gonna do when your girl dad can't get an abortion because she's been raped? And she gotta go through with it. And guess what, girl dad? You can't kill the guy who raped her, because guess what, girl dad? Your black ass is gonna get locked the fuck up. And you're gonna be working in a prison, which is probably gonna be private industrial complex, where you'll be doing cheap labor for a venture capitalist firm. Girl dad. I just want you to think about it. And think carefully. Think clearly. Think about what you're telling your children. They probably never let me speak at the DNC because, bitch, I'm going to get up there and fucking read. Okay? I'm going to get up there and fucking read. Now, I'm going to step off the pulpit for a minute because we got to look at our options. We got to look at our options. Now, the good thing is this. And shout out to Gigi said that for the super chat. I appreciate you, darling. We got to look at our options. Now, the good thing is Kamala got an embarrassment of riches when it comes to candidates who could be her VP. Okay? So, I did some research. And, you know, I'm seeing in the comments, you know, people, you know, we got some right-wing folks in here. We got some left-wing folks in here. And, you know, hey, we all have the right to our opinions. But this is my page and my channel, and I'm going to give you mine. Argue amongst yourselves. But I appreciate you as long as all y'all go out and vote. Because all this arguing that's happening in the comment section, that don't do nothing to move the needle in the country. Please make sure you're doing this arguing with the election judge when your computer don't work or when you need to fill out your ballot. Bitch, argue with that motherfucker. Don't argue in the comments, bitch. Now, non-possible running mates. And I noticed too. You know what I noticed? We're going to get to the running mates. But I noticed when I'm on here going off, or when I'm on here saying, oh man, the party is doomed, I don't see no right-wing people in the comments. I just think that's funny. But now that I'm pulling out record stats, giving context, oh, they're here. And I love y'all for that. Have the conversation. I encourage it. Now, let's look at some options here for Kamala. Okay? We got Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. Okay? 51 years old. He's been the governor since 2023. Prior to that, he was Pennsylvania's Attorney General since 2017. So they both they both are attorneys. They have legal background. County commissioner and state representative. If Harris were to pick Shapiro, it could bring in some extra votes from a swing state that Democrats desperately need to hold if they want to hold on to the White House. In Pennsylvania, this is a good point because they definitely, if you watched the RNC last week, they definitely are going to be using J.D. Vance to chip away at Pennsylvania, the Rust Belt, like areas like that. Okay. Then we have Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. Okay. 60 years old. He served as senator since 2020. Prior to that, he was a NASA astronaut and a Navy combat pilot. So he checks the box of he served his country in space and on land. He's married to former Rep. Gabby Giffords and represents a key battleground states. Okay, when he beat incumbent Republicans, so he beat a Republican in the state, Martha McSally 4 years ago in a special election for former Senator John McCain's seat. He became the first Democrat to hold the seat since 1962. He won re-election 2 years later easily. So the fact that he won re-election says to me that he's doing a good job in his state, and his state backs him. Okay, he took a seat from a Republican incumbent that had been held since 1962, bitch. 60 years. So he got a point there. Now, then we have Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Now, I know I'm going to catch heat for that. It's given absolutely not for her. Okay? And the reason why, as much as I love progress and I believe that progress should happen, the reality is we would be shooting ourselves in the foot if we had a 2-woman presidential ticket in the Democratic Party. Y'all can say whatever you want about me. Y'all can cancel, do whatever. Girl, no. No. And I like Gretchen Whitmer. I do. I think, she got some shit on her. Whitmer, 52 years old, served as governor since 2019. Prior to that, she served in the Michigan House of Representatives and Michigan Senate. She's been considered a potential 2028 successor since she won the gubernatorial race in 2022 by nearly 11 points in the battleground state. Michigan was also a key part of Biden's pathway to presidency. Okay? All right? Now, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear. Okay? Now, Beshear, 46 years old, so he checks that box of, because J.D. Vance is, 40, 41? Andy Beshear is 46, so he checks that box of being able to go head-to-head with J.D. Vance in the youth argument, okay? Elected governor in 2019 and recently won re-election in November in a 5-point victory, a significant win for Democrats in a deeply red state. Beshear was also elected the state's attorney general in 2015. Beshear, who has moderate bona fides, also comes from Kentucky political royalty. His father, Steve Beshear, also beat the odds as a Democrat in the overwhelmingly red state when he won the governorship in 2007 and 2011. So this is another man that's proven to be able to win as a Democrat in a red state. Okay? Now, next up, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, 67 years old, has served as North Carolina's governor since 2017 and is prevented from running again due to term limits. Prior to that, he served as the state's attorney general for 16 years and served in North Carolina Senate and House Representative Jim Clyburn has floated Cooper's name among the next generation of Democratic leaders. Well, he's 67, so if he's the next generation of Democratic leaders, realistically, if he doesn't get this ticket for VP, that means the next 10 years he'll be 77, which is the same age in the same age range of Joe Biden and President Trump. I'll pass. Next, California Governor Gavin Newsom. Newsom, 56, was a prominent surrogate for Biden and has been governor since 2019. Prior to that, he served as San Francisco's mayor and then the lieutenant governor of California. Newsom is often discussed as a potential presidential candidate, but will face a huge hurdle serving as Harris's running mate for one simple reason. They both hail from California. Okay? And this is because of the 12th Amendment. Under the 12th Amendment, electoral college members vote for the president and vice president, but one of them shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. So what that means is, if Harris picked Newsom as a running mate, they would have to give up all of California's 54 electoral college votes. He's dead in the water. Not happening. Okay? For those of you thinking, he should get Obama. He can't do it. He's already been president for 2 terms. Not going to happen. Okay? Then we have Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, okay? 59 years old, seen as a possible presidential candidate in part for his standing in the party and his ability to self-fund a campaign. His family started the Hyatt Hotel empire. He's in his second term as governor, and before that was active in Democratic fundraising circles. Pritzker has been a pit bull in attacking Trump, a practice that started during his first term as governor, trying to get the former president to act quicker on delivering personal protective equipment during the pandemic. Now, first of all, you own the Hyatt, and I don't know how I feel about that. I'm tired of these big business people sitting in these chairs. That's the Democrat or not. Second thing, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but you will, and there's nothing I can do about it. But I'm thinking about the man that we're facing. Looking at J.B. Pritzker's just physical presentation, Donald Trump had a field day with him in a debate. Like a field day. Okay? Field day. No. Okay? Then we have my governor, Wes Moore. Now I'm going to say this. Wes Moore do smell like a future president. But Wes, not now. Okay? Not now. Wes, we need you in the state of Maryland. I need you on a local level. Okay? You just got in this seat, niece. I don't need you running for VP. So for me, it's giving hell fucking no. Okay? Wes Moore, 45, became Maryland's first black governor in 2023, and is widely seen as a possible candidate for the White House in the future. The young governor also has an impressive resume as a New York Times bestselling author, Rhodes Scholar, combat veteran, and former CEO of the Robin Hood Foundation, an anti-poverty organization. Love West down, but next. Then we have Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, who is another former contender for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2020. Pete Buttigieg has also formally endorsed Harris. He said in a statement on X that Harris was the right person to take up the torch, defeat Donald Trump, and succeed. 42 years old, Secretary of Transportation, was known among his supporters as Mayor Pete, as the former mayor of South Bend, Indiana. He is also the first openly gay person confirmed to the presidential cabinet. Buttigieg is also a Rhodes Scholar and served in Afghanistan. So she has, in my opinion, a lot of great candidates to choose from. At all. And it's so funny because, can we have a real conversation real quick? Can we have a real conversation? Just real quick. Shout out to The Truth for the super chat. Keep those super chats coming. I appreciate them. Can we have a real conversation? It's so funny looking in the chat, talking to you guys. And I noticed a lot of the black people like, we need a white man for this ticket. And I'm noticing some of our white folks, white friends are saying, well, we can do, What's more would be great. This person would be great. We know America. Okay? As much as you guys like to hold on to the idea that, America is this place, we know that Kamala needs a white man. She don't need a white man. But if her ass want to sit in that White House, she gotta get a white man. It is what it is. Now, looking at this, we have the Republican Party already saying, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, who is so sinister. Oh, that man gives me the heebie-jeebies. Saying that, they might contest it, or, the Democrats just can't, replace somebody out of the ticket, this, that, and the third. Girl, have a seat. The legal precedent, sir, somebody's got to run, okay? If the man dropped out, he dropped out. Don't be mad. Now y'all upset. Donald having fits on Truth Social, having a meltdown. Now you got to really answer some questions. Viserys Targaryen has left the building. Okay? He out of the race now. So now it's time to now you gotta have a big boy conversation. You have a big boy conversation. But the reality is this, and some people I see in the chat, some people and a couple people brought it up. Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama. I mean, I'm not going to say never, because this election cycle, you just never know what's going to happen. But no, she's not doing it. Okay. That being said, I feel like we got a real chance now. There's going to be a fight to the finish. I may be appearing at the Democratic National Convention. We'll see how that goes. I'm waiting on some confirmations. I may be there, I may not. But you know, some birdies are looking into some things for me in regards to that. But I feel rejuvenated. I'm not saying that Kamala is just going to steamroll over Trump. We know that that's not the case. But I do feel like I went from having a hand tied behind my back to now I got a sword in my hand and one hand free. So be clear, we are still in the arena. This fight, the biggest monsters, the biggest beast, have not come out behind from that gate yet. But at least we got a chance. And really, that's all you can ask for, especially in these times. Okay? I will say this. You don't have to like me. You don't have to agree with me. But no matter what side of the aisle you are on, or whether if you're sitting in the aisle, on the floor, bitch, I want you to go out and vote. And I think it's something that we all need to do. Because I would rather go down with my hand on the wheel than just being a passenger in the car. Okay? So November 5th, no matter where you stand, go out and vote. Go out and vote. Vote not just based on your pocketbook. We know that's a big thing. But vote long term. Vote for tomorrow, not today. That's the biggest thing I can leave you with. Okay? Make sure, good job. Shout out to Ananda in the chat. Make sure your ID is up to date. Make sure you're registered correctly. Make sure you're registered in the right place. Don't leave anything to chance. If you got to call the MBA, get your address of residency straightened out, do it. If you need to get a new ID, yours about to expire, do it. Whatever you need to do, do it. But that on that note, y'all already know what time it is. It's Monday Night Raw. Wrestling come on at 8. Okay, Rhea Ripley back, niece. It's been fun. I love y'all dearly. Make sure you continue to support the channel. Remember, youtube.com/Secretary of Shade. Also, shout out to our sponsors, Care for Equity. And I got some good news coming soon for this election season. But just stay tuned for that. On that note, I hope you have a safe day, safe night, safe week. I'll be in Houston this weekend for a few days. So all my Houston cabinet members, if you see me out and about, I know it's a tough time for y'all right now. Please feel free to say hello, give me a hug, shout out, whatever it is you need to do. Just don't hurt me. But on that note, y'all have a great evening, and I will see you guys soon.